What's up, fuckers? What's up, Emiliano? What's up, Jerry? Welcome, welcome. I hope you're both doing well. I have had a day. I've been doing stuff. Been chilling. Being chilling. That's about it. Alright, that's the stream. Goodbye. No, a little bit exhausted. I'm eating apple cupcake. Hell yeah. What is that? Is that like an apple flavored cupcake or like... I'm trying to figure out what that means. Is it like apple flavored or is it like apple shaped or... Okay, so cupcake. Frosting. Yo, what's up, Miri? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Apple pie filling on top. Hey, yo. Wait a minute, that's genius. That's amazing. What the hell? I love that. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try making that eventually. TM. Hope you've been amazing. Yeah, I've been chilling. I've been vibing. It has been a while, gamer. We should hang out or something. Oh, I bought it at Costco. Hell yeah. I love Costco. I need to get a membership to Costco. It's been forever since we've talked. I think it's been since yeah, it was since the Danganronpa stuff. What the fuck? The flow of time stops for no one. What the fuck was I saying? No, I was just talking about how I'm kind of tired and out of it. So, my brain, we're gonna be lagging behind a little bit. It's also worth mentioning, if you haven't been around when I've talked about it before, I am a freak in the VTuber community in the sense that I do fantasy football. And I forgot that I had a draft in an hour. So at some point here, I'm gonna be distracted by the fact that I'm gonna be drafting players in this fucking joke draft that we're doing. For the benefit of people that actually know how that works, we're doing a thing where it's like, and I only remembered this like an hour before stream, or else I probably would have like changed the timing a little bit or moved it a bit earlier. But it's been way too long. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So the gimmick is that for the next week, we need to create a team that's going to get the least amount of points possible, but not 0. And I forget what the win reward thing is, but I'm basically just gonna scroll all the way down and just pick shit from the bottom. So that's gonna be neat. Am I able to like... No, the app definitely doesn't like let you sort bottom up. Anyway, that out of the way. That has nothing to do with the topic, but there's at some point you might see me go quiet for a little bit to pick someone and then go back to what I was talking about. Yeah, I don't know, here I am, the one VTuber that's into sports ball. That's crazy. Usually we're into like League of Legends and shit. Imagine watching LCS. I don't know what the fuck's going on in League. I don't play League. That's a lie. I do play League. What's up, Gargo? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, I figured I should mention that before we get into things. Not that I really have any kind of structure. I put this on the schedule because it was an idea I had last week. It was the same conversation that led to the Symphogear watch along on Friday, where we were talking about unhinged JRPGs, and we ended up on the topic of Xenoblade and how I really hate Xenoblade's gameplay, and it prevents me from enjoying the series. And then we went from like there to, yo, what if I make like, what if we make like our own unhinged JRPG? And I think it was Stick was like, hell yeah. All my time making fake PS2 era game music is gonna come in handy. And then I'm like, you know what? I have a lot of weird ideas for JRPG combat too. What if I like did a stream where I talk about it, and now I'm doing a stream where I talk about it. But after having scheduled it and thought about all of my ideas, I've realized that whenever I have ideas, I have this bad habit of, instead of writing them down like a normal person in case I want to return to them later, I, in my infinite hubris, am like, I will remember this when it's relevant, and almost inevitably I will not, because I'm a freak. So, despite the fact that I've had many ideas that I like, I remember very, very few of them. So, this is going to be very rambly and unhinged, but I've said it in the past, I want to do more just chatting streams. I think they're good for days where I don't know what games to play. And they're good for just interacting with y'all and having interesting conversations. But I'm really bad at them. So whenever I have a topic, I'm usually like, I'm going to do that now so that I can get practice doing this thing and getting better at it. Because like, Cora does a bunch of those. Cora does a bunch of just chatting, and she'll like sit there and like talk nonstop for like hours, and I'm like, girl, how do? I don't know. I think having streamed for over a year, I have gotten a little better at it, but that's sort of the big motivation for doing something like this. I also bought way too much beer and alcohol for last Saturday, thinking that, you know, I was gonna stay awake for longer and be able to drink more, and I didn't. So I'm also like sipping on a beer from my fridge because I was like, you know what, I've had a day, I will treat myself and enjoy a, in parentheses, one, in parentheses again, the number one, then close both of those parentheses, beer. It's pretty good, Sapporo. I gotta say, I'm a little pissed though, because I never examined the Sapporo bottles. I always thought it was like Japanese beer brewed in Japan. And I'm sure the recipe is still like from Japan, but like, it's brewed in Canada, which is like, I don't know, it kind of ruins the magic of it being like a Japanese imported beer. It's still good, don't get me wrong, I like Japanese beer, but I mean, it just kind of killed the immersion a little bit, knowing that it was made not in Japan. So yeah, do with that information what you will if you never noticed that. I do wonder though, because I'd have to imagine if you buy it in like Japan or somewhere near Japan, if it would taste the same or if it would be different, because I assume it's made closer there instead of being imported back from Canada to be Japanese beer. That'd be kind of fucking stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I just noticed that on it and I'm like, huh, that's kind of fucked up. But yeah, I don't know. Beer's not like my first choice, but it is cheap. And as far as beers go, Sapporo is better than most. I'm usually more of a fan of like sours though. I have a local sour that I really like, but I can't talk about it because it's local. So you'll just have to take my word for it. Yeah, sour beer goes hard. Especially like raspberry type shit. Like visual novels? If so, what are some of your faves? Got a leg cramp I have to recover from? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but welcome, Christopher. Hope my soothing, comfy voice can send good vibes to your leg and help you recover. Yeah, visual novels. I don't play too many of them, especially not like otome game type stuff. Trying to think. I played one called Raging Loop, which I thought the premise and most of what happens is actually pretty good. There are some topics that aren't handled perfectly, but given that I've experienced very few visual novels, out of those few, that would have to be the favorite, and I also am blanking on the other ones, so even if there was one I liked more, I don't remember it at the moment. What's up, Drill to the Heavens? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. How do you feel about tactics games like FE, Devil Survivor? I've never heard of Stella Glow, but I like Fire Emblem in theory, although I've never been able to finish one of the games, and I can't quite put my finger on why, because nothing's inherently wrong with them. I just don't like they don't hold me, even though I do, like, you know, my brain really does love like the tile-based tactics situation. I really like Devil Survivor, but Fire Emblem specifically I've never been able to finish, and I really wish I knew more about why, but I don't. My brain just it works how it works. I got like halfway through Engage, I want to say, and like a quarter of the way through Three Houses, so do with that what you will. What's up, Makimo? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. I guess at some point I should probably actually talk about some of my JRPG ideas, though. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 battle system was good. I wouldn't know. I just know that 1 and 2 were both terrible, and I hated them. To me, if you like them, you know, power to you, but also you're wrong, Lamau. I don't know. The big thing is, like, I have a lot more ideas, I think, for like non-turn-based JRPGs. I actually have a really big one, but that one's gonna be like a whole thing, and I'm gonna pull up MS Paint to try to like illustrate what the fuck's going on. So I'm gonna save that one a little bit before I like start getting going. But I find that I have less. What's up, JC2? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. I find that I have a lot like less ideas when it comes to turn-based JRPGs, which is what a lot of people, I feel like, think of first when they think of JRPGs, which is really interesting and understandable. But it's also harder to work within that framework because, like, and you've seen it a lot, and it is objectively not true that it's a genre that should be left in the past, and I know most people realize that that's like not true, and that's fucking stupid, but I mean, there isn't a lot of room to innovate because most of what you're doing is going to be like picking moves and then doing the moves. What's up, Ikaru? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Were you ever a Homestuck kid? I was not a Homestuck kid. I was familiar with it, but I never got into it. I was late to a lot of internet trends, to be honest. Of course, that one I never really got into to begin with. Never really got the appeal. I find Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff pretty funny, though, specifically the fucking stairs. I warned you about the stairs, bro. I told you. I think I got that backwards. I think it's like told you about the stairs, bro. I warned you, but whatever. Time to play all these new games in my room like a piece of shit. I have no... Now I will say I have no godly idea at all how that actually relates to Homestuck. I just know that it does. So like, I don't know. Anyway, what was I talking about? Turn-based RPGs, that's right. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you do to it, you are ultimately picking moves and like waiting for then your opponent to pick those moves. And you see across like, especially newer, but even older RPGs, like I was playing Super Mario RPG on Sunday, and I'm gonna do it again this Sunday, where they added in action commands where you have to like time your button presses. It makes it a little bit more gamey, a little bit more interesting. We saw like Final Fantasy 13, which is one of my favorite JRPG combats personally, but like It's very weird and obtuse, and I definitely get people who don't like it. And then, like, I've been playing Bravely Default last night, and not Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler tonight and last night, because Lily Avendera from RealCorp Gen 2 was streaming it last night, and I'm like, oh, this is a game that I've wanted to play for a while. And it's good because every character kind of has like its own special things. Like the jobs aren't just list of moves, they are actually distinct. Which is cool. And then also the boost system is cool because you can like save up your boost points, but at a certain point they stop accumulating. So like there's some depth of like how powerful do you want a move to be, or like different effects depending on the level of boost, or different number of hits, which is important for staggering enemies. And there's a lot of interesting stuff like that. And what I have trouble with is coming up with like a way to make that more interesting without just making it incredibly unbalanced. And that really is the big thing. There are some games that do it really well. Unfortunately, Final Fantasy I don't think was ever one of them, and that game and Dragon Quest, I want to say, I've always been kind of guilty of with their turn-based entries, always just kind of being more powerful move, deal damage before run out of health, pee pee poo poo. Not to say that that's bad, mind, I do enjoy games like that. But a lot of the innovation had more to do with, how do I word this in a way that's not like, it doesn't completely misrepresent what I'm going for. It had a lot to do more with like how you get those moves and how you power up outside of combat than how the actual combat like functioned, I guess. Because when you're actually in combat, what you're doing functionally in, let's just pick some, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy IX, and Final Fantasy X, you are doing the same thing in combat. You know what I mean? It's what you're doing out of combat. Like 7 has materia, 9 has, I don't know, it has shit. 10 has the sphere grid, and a fucking underwater soccer minigame. What's up, Nikki? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Of course, the soccer minigame really has next to nothing to do with the actual combat, but whatever. I like pointing it out because shoutouts to, why can't I remember the name of the game? Blitzball. It has Blitzball. And let me tell you, I need to draw fan art of you right now. Hell yeah, gamer, please do. I love fan art. I lost my train of thought. No, it is an extremely insane missed opportunity to me that post Final Fantasy X, they never made like a Madden or like a FIFA style Blitzball game with a bunch of characters from throughout the Final Fantasy series. Like, what a fucking missed opportunity for an amazing spin-off. And they just never did it. Let me fix something. I think yeah, something got changed with my monetization. I don't want y'all getting mid-rolls. Okay, we fixed it. Okay. Anyway, yeah, like, now I wouldn't want it to be like a recurring yearly series, like fucking those actual sports games like Madden, FIFA, etc. But like, imagine how hard that would have gone to have a game like that, and they just didn't do it. And it's really upsetting. But anyway, my point is that the hardest part is making like a combat system where, one, there's something interesting going on aside from just picking moves, whether that be the moves you're picking and what they do, or like how you're interacting with enemies and how you're able to manipulate things in your favor. SMT, great example for the most part, and I have an example where they fucked it up. It's actually a game I've streamed. There's fucking like, yeah, another example is, like I said, Octopath Traveler, where like the moves are different between different characters. There's not a whole lot of overlap. Granted, I'm not super far into it yet, so I don't know the full extent of the variety, but, you know, based on what I have played, it seems to do a good job of adding in mechanical depth in a really simple but deep way. Fucking... I mean, Shin Megami Tensei has press turn, Persona has one more. I'm sure there's other examples that I'm blanking on. I'm a fucking freak who doesn't have a memory. You know, I'm orange, I'm goldfish colored, and I have the memory of a goldfish. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you fucking know it? Maybe the memory situation has less to do with brain size and more to do with what color you are. Oh, you played Blue Dragon? I have not played Blue Dragon. I know that a lot of people liked it, though. One of the only JRPGs on the Xbox 360. Shoutouts. SMT9 was weird. I don't know if we really consider that, like, turn-based per se, but it was definitely interesting. In a lot of ways, it resembles, like, your typical modern gacha game, where, like, your people attack automatically, but you can influence it. Honkai Star Rail does the same thing as Octopath, where all the party members have like very distinct things going on. Stuff like that. But the issue comes in with like actually trying to come up with something that hasn't been done, which is kind of what I was going for with the stream. So the longer I try to come up with ideas for games that have done that well, the less time I have to talk about ones that I actually have. So yeah. Oh, I remembered another one. Fuck. Why do I not remember the name of the game? I know exactly which game I'm talking about. I don't know the name of it. The Caligula Effect Overdose, that's right. That game has something really interesting going on. So what you do is you have 3 characters, or I think it's 3 in a party. And you queue up moves, but there's like an actual physical game space going on. And what you want to do is have them like interact with each other to combo the enemies without letting them combo you in the same space. Then you can kind of like preview it and watch that play out before you do it. But then they might throw a curveball if you get unlucky. You're like doing certain moves, might provoke certain enemies to do other things. That's kind of cool. Again, I don't know if that counts as turn-based. But it's kind of closer to that, I feel like, than like an action RPG for sure, because you're not directly controlling anything. If you played Reverse 1999, yup, I have been on that grind. I have been playing it. I do like that game with like the card situation too. That's a good example. Where like instead of picking moves, you have to kind of like, well, you are picking moves, but which ones you pick can make other moves stronger because it'll like combine cards, or you can forgo an action to make one more powerful, etc., etc. That's pretty cool. Have you played Ni no Kuni? I have not played Ni no Kuni. It's been on my to playlist for forever. I do know that that's a good game though, or at least that a lot of people like it. So all of this to say, as I was going through my brain, searching for like the far outreaches of my mind where the neurons from previous ideas I've had are residing, are hiding themselves away, I couldn't come up with very many that weren't already done. I came across 2, and one of them has since been done or is going to have been done. It was this really dumb idea, and I was trying to figure out how one would go about balancing it. And it turns out that there's a game coming out soon that's already done it. So the idea was, it would be a turn-based RPG, but like there would be a special move you could do where you could like break out of that, and it was an action RPG for a little bit, and you had some time to like actually just walk up and fuck shit up as you'd like as that character. And this was years ago I had that idea. So I should really sue Sega because they put that in the new the upcoming Yakuza Infinite Wealth. Kiryu apparently has a move where he just fucking just for a little bit you play it like it's a regular Yakuza game. You just beat the shit out of the enemies, which I think is hilarious. As like a joke within the series. But like, where's my money, Sega? Because you read my mind and took that idea out of my brain. And I'm going to take you to court over it. Lamau. I'm kidding, obviously. But it is funny to see that idea like actually happen because it's really stupid. And then the other one was to mess with the health system. So normally in JRPGs, Tales of Arise, that game's good. I need to play the new DLC that came out. I've been deciding if I want to or not. I like the base game though, so if it plays like the base game, I'll probably enjoy it. Although I also question why they made an expansion to a 3-year-old game, but you know, I'm not the developers, I'm not the publishers, ain't my fucking problem. But the second idea I had, like I said, was the health. Now normally health in a JRPG is why am I blanking? Because there's like a static number that each character has. You know, you can lose it when you get hit. It can be spendable for like powerful moves. It can heal it, obviously, most of the time. You know, you might mess with it a little bit. I see some RPGs lately, they've liked to do this thing where like you have like your regular max HP, but then as you take hits, there'll be like a smaller bar that'll go down, usually like mortal wounds or something, and as that goes down, that becomes like your operating max health, and you can't go above it without special items or moves. And that's interesting, but what I thought of, and what I think would be neat to experience, although to experiment with rather, although I don't know how you would go about balancing it, but you know, I'm not a game dev, so I'm far from an expert on how that works. I had the idea of, and this isn't the only game that's done it, but it's the one that comes to mind first because I really liked it. If you've ever played Inscription, Inscription had a really cool health system in that game. Now, granted, that was a trading card game, not a JRPG, and also kind of a puzzle game. I liked it a lot. Maybe I'll replay it sometime. But the way the health worked in that game is you had like a scale situation, and as you hit the enemy or the enemy hit you, that scale would move more in your direction. And when that scale hit a certain point, I think it was 5, in any given player's direction, that player lost. So each individual player didn't have their own health pool. The health pool was sort of like a tug of war situation. And if there is an RPG that's done this, let me know, because I'd love to see how it's done, because I think it'd be neat. But As far as I know, that's never been done with like a turn-based RPG, and I think it'd be neat. So like instead of health being like a stat in itself and that just being the number, it'd be more like power level or something. And the higher the power level, the closer the bar is going to be to your enemy. So like for boss fights, it might be an uphill battle because it'll start way closer to you and the boss is going to hit hard. So it's sort of like a puzzle, every clicker Roblox game. I wouldn't know. I don't know anything about Roblox, but I'll take your word for it. But I think it would do some interesting things because, like, one, it turns survival from like, it makes it a very offensive game. I think is what I'm going for. So like instead of having like, you know, your damage dealer, like let's just think of like your typical 4-party team in an RPG. You have like your single enemy big nuke DPS. You have like your AoE DPS, or like a mage or something depending on the game, a tank, and then a healer. We'll just say. Think like Final Fantasy XIV parties. Doing something this way would at the very least eliminate a need for a healer type character. And it would probably also eliminate the need, depending on how you wanted mechanics to work, for the tank. Because the defense is no longer like defending your health pool. Your defense is, like, in the purest sense, dealing more damage to the enemy than the enemy can deal to you. So what you'd end up with is, instead of like the entire game essentially, and developing from the game developer, the game designer perspective, you end up with less of like, you can do more with the damage system, right? So you can have like a bunch of different elements, and it's like, okay, well, this boss is going to be swayed more by these elements, or like maybe even a combo system where like the more attacks you do in sequence, the higher your damage goes. So now it's like, okay, well, how can I sequence these party members' moves to create as high of a combo, or as powerful of a combo as I possibly can. Buffs and debuffs become really important if you balance it correctly. These are just off the top of my head. I mean, this isn't something I've like workshopped, but it is something I've thought of that I think would be interesting. I mean, I'm sure someone could sit here and poke holes in a lot of that, but you know, just off the top of my head, I do think it would be neat. You could do some cool stuff with that. Or like, I just thought of something. So typically damage over time, right? So like status effects, like think poison, right? So the gimmick is like, okay, well, this is gonna do damage over like 5 turns, but it's gonna do less damage because like overall we don't want it to be like a bunch. Like it'll probably be a bit more, but you do have to wait out like 5 turns for it to work. You could instead flip that on its head, where it's like, okay, this move is going to do like a metric ass ton of damage in 3 turns. So then your goal isn't necessarily to push the bar all the way to the end. It's to keep the bar from getting pushed all the way to your end before that move can go off. There's some really interesting potential there. Now that I'm actually like talking about it out loud. So I'm hoping that I don't do the goldfish brain thing and forget this, because if I ever do get into game dev, I'm gonna use this. But like the reason that that's not like those moves exist in other RPGs. It's not wholesale like a brand new idea I've just had. I mean, I realize that there's stuff like that in other games, but the problem with that in other games is just like it's not super viable. Because now it's like you're saying like, okay, well now I have to wait 3 turns to actually like do anything, so you'd rather like deal almost that much damage in 3 turns rather than doing like this one thing that wastes like a whole player's move that could have been spent like healing or buffing or doing damage now, because I want to lower the enemy's action economy, right? So like you want to take out characters, you want to do this and that. I mean, in all likelihood, most of the time in games that have stuff like that, the entire fucking battle's over before the damage from that move can actually even hit. So most of the time, stuff like that kind of gets ignored. So I think it would make that a lot more viable with a system like that. And then, because I didn't think about it before, I'm only thinking about this from like a one-on-one perspective. It could have some really interesting applications for like multiple enemy fights, because it's like, okay, well, is it 1 bar for the entire thing? So like you have a party of 4 and then the enemy has a party of 4, but the thing is shared? Or is there an individual bar like that for each enemy? Or is there like a web of bars from each enemy to each ally and each ally to each enemy? That would be extremely hard to parse, so I doubt it's that. But I mean, if you really talked through it, I think you could do some interesting things with that too. I think in all likelihood it would be like each enemy has its own bar. But then, like, how would that... I mean, obviously, the easiest way to describe it is, like, you know, do you... The situation is, like, do you focus down one enemy and then let the other enemies, like, lower your bar? You know, at risk of maybe one of them getting lowered. But then, like, should the player really be punished if only one of those hits the bottom, or is it more of like a score situation where it's like, okay, maybe you lose a party member, or maybe some kind of like overall count. I don't know. That has this whole, like, a whole new interesting set of questions that need to be resolved. What's up, Abby? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Alternatively, it could just be a game that actually is like your party versus a bunch of bosses. Like every enemy is boss level, which also does solve a problem in the sense that, like, with something like that, every single individual combat encounter would be interesting because you'd have to think about your strategy. Whereas like your typical RPG, where at a certain point the regular enemies become fodder. I don't know. It'd be a neat thing to workshop. More so that now that I've talked about it, I'm realizing like there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a game designer. Again, I'm not qualified for any of this, but if anyone happens to be and wants to do this, just let me know. I will keep an eye on whatever project it is. That goes for the next one too. Although that's where I say like that's kind of leading into like the big one, TM. That's always stuck in my head because I want to see it happen. And I actually have like something I can show off for this to give you a better idea of it. But that whole conversation earlier about like what constitutes a JRPG, and a lot of people sort of immediately jumping to turn-based combat instead of like RPG game from Japan, because I consider, for example, like Dark Souls and Elden Ring to be JRPGs, because like, you know, they may have like a Western art style, they may look more similar to Skyrim than say Dragon Quest, but I mean, they are very Japanese video games. They are not Western styled. Especially as you get deeper into the series, I feel like. But like, yeah, those are by all accounts JRPGs in my mind. But some people they aren't. So when I start getting into like the realm of action RPG, you know, have we escaped the genre? I say no, and it's my stream, so what I say goes. But that is why I didn't start with this. But then we take it one further level of abstraction, and we ask the question, is a Musou game a JRPG? Is Dynasty Warriors a JRPG? And that's even shakier, although that's not the crux of what I'm about to describe. But it is part of it, because if I was developing the game, it would absolutely take after that style. And this will make sense in a bit, but just disclaimers up front. Finish off my beer. But this all started with a game called Final Fantasy Type 0. Oh, the big stretch. Oh, God. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Final Fantasy Type 0, just a brief overview. It is a PSP action RPG that was Japanese only, but it came to the West a little bit before Final Fantasy 15 came out. As sort of like a cross promotion, they made it HD. It was called Type 0 HD, and it included, if you bought it, a demo for FF15, which is a dog shit video game. If you like it, power to you. There's a lot to like there, but as a Final Fantasy game, I hate Final Fantasy 15, but that's not the point. The point is, it was an action RPG. It played somewhat similarly to Kingdom Hearts, I guess. And it had this cool world map that would actually, like, be largely impacted by events that happen in the game, which I've always thought was a really cool idea. Not to say that other games haven't done it. Plenty of games mess with the world map like that, but I think, like, to give you an example of this, what I'm talking about, there's a part very early on in the game. They have you go on a couple of like regular missions first to like reclaim cities from the Empire, because the premise is that the Empire is taking over everywhere, and you're when it starts, you're like on the verge of losing, and it's like, okay, bring out the powerful boys, the class 0, the gamers. And that's you, and you play as Class 0, hence the name Type 0. Maybe one day I'll play it. Yeah, it's a good game, I like it. It's got a lot of problems, but it's also good. Very grindy, but that's not the point. The point is that at this point you've learned, like, okay, there's a town system where like these different towns are on the map, and you can go to them and walk around a little bit and buy stuff and take quests and stuff. And then you get to this one mission where you go to this other place, this other like further out town, and you're like, okay, take it over like normal. And then you get to the end of it, you fight a boss, and then at the end of that boss, something happens, and functionally, the high fantasy crystal magic equivalent of an atomic bomb blowing up happens on that city. And for the rest of the game, instead of like the regular town that was sitting there on like normal terrain, there's a big ass crater on the world map. Stuff like that. And that's not the only example. I mean, the entire game does shit like that. It's very cool. Also not the point of me bringing up the game, but I want people to appreciate that it was a very cool attempt at like a proper RPG on the PSP. And I really like it. But it had this special type of mission. Like I said, most of them are like go place, do like dungeon, fight some things, win, pee pee poo poo. But there was a second type of mission. Need some water. There was a second type of mission that kind of plays like an RTS. And I'm gonna pull up like an example of it here and see if I can't get it on screen to demonstrate here, just to give you some kind of like visual to go off of. So like a gameplay example. I mean, this is from Square Enix, so that'll probably be it. Let me... Jesus, okay. Blast my ear off. I guess it doesn't matter, because I can just not, are we discussing only turn-based classic RPGs? Nah, we just got done with that. Now I'm talking about this fucking weird idea that I've had since I played Type 0. I'm working on getting the video for it pulled up right now. Anyway, welcome, Kai. I hope you're doing well. Because the only other game I can think of that has RTS stuff is a game I've talked about earlier, where alright, let me get this playing. It was like an example from the Square Enix channel. But this is sort of what it looks like, and I'll just let it play while I talk about it more. SMT9 on the OG Xbox also had like an RTS thing, but I've never seen like why am I blanking? No, I've never seen like a JRPG fully commit to the RTS situation. But you can kind of see like the gist of it here, where you have like different units coming out of different, they call them domains. Right now I'm playing Super Mario RPG. Yo, I was playing that on Sunday. I'm gonna be playing again this Sunday. I've been enjoying the remake a lot. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Maybe we can like find... See, but like the thing is, like you're walking around on the map, right? Like you can see your little guy down here. What's up, Death Annihilator? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. I cannot say that I've done that, no. You can see, like, you are a unit on the map. And, like, you still maintain your normal gameplay. So, let me, like, stop giving them tutorials, motherfucker. I want to show off the thing. You can see, like, okay, well, these are the same two units coming together. But now, like, okay, your unit, you're able to, like, actually physically attack these people. And that'll let your people get closer. And that's cool. That's pretty sick. Fucking hurry up. So, like, here we go. Now you can see, like, okay, the units get there. So that domain can no longer send people out. But here we're about to get to the really cool part. Hurry the fuck up. Stop being slow. I forgot how many tutorials there are in this game. God damn it. What's up, Sophia? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, seeing you can like pick which unit comes out, and certain enemies are weak to certain people. Is this FF? Yeah, this is Final Fantasy Type 0. This is the game I've been talking about, gushing about. Where do they get there? Yeah, here we go, Akfi. So there it is, there it is. So like when you get their health down enough, what you can do, what's up, Dr. Hero? Welcome, welcome, hope you're doing well. Is you actually enter that town. And now you're doing like a proper dungeon in the game. Shoulder just suddenly started hurting for no reason. Oh no, hopefully it gets better. Hope you're able to fix your shoulder. Nothing serious. Yeah, the fucking Square Enix sucks at their own game. But yeah, you can see like, okay, they took over the town, blah blah blah, more people. And then there we go. Now we've captured a town, and we can command that town and send units to other places. So I sort of just wanted to give you a visual for like where this all started in my brain. With like that. There's really not much else. And I think the worst part of it is that they only have like 3 missions total, I want to say, in the entire game that play like that. And they also weren't confident enough in it, so you're actually able to outright skip them, which I hate. Because even if it doesn't play the best, and I'll fully admit, like, they're not super deep, what you're supposed to do is pretty obvious every time. There's not a lot of, like, room for player creativity in the way that you handle those types of missions. But what they were trying to do is really cool. And I really wish that they would have doubled down, or at least like repurposed it elsewhere. But instead it was just like this weird thing. You didn't have to play it. And then once you were through with it, it never popped up again. I want a full RPG that plays like that. I'll go to sleep feeling good. All right, see you, Sophia. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate you. But yeah, that was my point of bringing that up. Give a little bit of backstory. So what I want is something sort of like that, where like the main thing is the RTS like strategy shit, but then like there's some element of gameplay when it comes to actually like also the Final Fantasy. Yeah, the Final Fantasy football draft is about to start. Now yeah, I'm gonna be distracted here for a little bit, but I'll try to keep talking as best I can. I'll just go silent every once in a while. Hope it's not too off-putting. We're gonna be jumping between me trying to explain this and me doing that. So, the premise would be, it does like the RTS gunch, kind of like what I just showed off. You're able to like, you have towns, the enemy has towns. You decide how many of each unit is going to go to each town to try to overpower people. But I want to add more depth to that, because I think the biggest failing of it is just the lack of depth. It's like, okay, here's the type of units you can send out. Certain types of units are coming from certain directions, and fucking just use the one they're weak to, and then help the soldiers get to the place. And then once they do, take the health down, and then you can enter the town and do a little fight, and you capture it. Which is serviceable when that's not the entire game. but definitely wouldn't be if there was a lot more of it. So it was probably more of a time constraint thing, I think, than anything, that they didn't bother really like putting more effort into making it fun and fleshing it out, which I get. I mean, I completely understand from a developer perspective. Like, making games not easy, requires time, and you already made like this big ass world map, and I gotta say, it is a very big world map. It's very impressive. There's a lot of side missions that are like properly fleshed out, that you might never see in the game if you don't decide to level up to be able to do them. But like, I want a game like that. So what I'm proposing, and let me, is this started? Has it started? Let me refresh. Looks like it started. I'm gonna get paint up here. I want to like draw my gunch here. I want you to be paint. There we go. That works, I think. Yeah. Yo. Okay, here we go. Hopefully it won't break and show my browser. So let me put this like over here actually. So the way I'm envisioning this being is like one fight, for example, might be like would be an entire chapter of the game. So think like Fire Emblem, for example, where like you'll have like the one fight that is that entire chapter, and different story events will happen when you do certain things. Like, okay, we did this first fight, cool. Now story event happens, you get some text, maybe a cutscene, and then ooh, reinforcements, or ooh, some kind of fucking dragon, rawr, rawr, I don't know, whatever the fuck happens in Fire Emblem. The fire emblems, the emblem catches on fire, and it's a thing. I don't fucking know. Y'all know what I mean though if you've played one. So the way, so we'll get that out of the way first. So the way that one of those might play out is like, I'll try to figure out like a key here. So like the squares will be like big towns, triangles will be like modern towns, and then circles will be like outposts. So like, I guess we'll go diamonds. So like, this one is flanked by like two of these. And one of these. And then we'll have lines going like, just to show off like different routes where you can send different units. This looks like a guy fucking holding flyers. Just like, hey, look at me, I got papers. Yeah. Okay, enough of that. And then we'll do like, one, 2, 3, 4, and then like something here, something special here. Yeah, whatever. This is like super not symmetrical, but whatever. We'll figure it out. I'm putting a lot of effort into this for like how unnecessary it is, but whatever, it wastes time. It's content. And this can also go like here. And then like this can go here. This connects here, this connects here, and this connects here. So like zooming in here just so it's more of the picture from the start. So this is sort of like the battlefield for this like hypothetical, I guess, first chapter. And then we'll also keep like a triangle here because there are going to be different types of units. I'll make it a little bit more interesting because I prefer squares to triangles for like the rock, paper, scissors type strengths. So like boom, 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 and the arrows denote which one's stronger and which one's like weaker. So if the arrow is pointing to something, that means the one on the first part of the arrow is the stronger one, and the one it's pointing to is the weaker one. Why is the draft not started yet? But yeah. So let's say you start, and I guess just to make sure that we know like what's separate from the actual like important information, I'll use red to demonstrate like me pointing to shit. So like, okay, you start here. This is the only thing you have. And you have, say, I don't know, how many units do I want to have? Okay, so like, I guess we'll say you have like a total of 500 units. I should probably use a different color for that so we know that that's like the units, so whatever. So you have 500 units. And whatever that represents, you know, that's for the fucking story writers. I don't write stories. I play video games. We're not concerning ourselves with that here. You have 3 directions to go in, and we can assume, like, reasonably, like, you have to divvy this up between these 3 here, so, like, boom, boom, boom. We need to, like, those don't mean anything. I was just trying to scribble, but it's hard to do drawing with a mouse, and I don't feel like finding and plugging in my drawing tablet. So like these diamonds, these are a little bit stronger. So like these are, they give you more rewards. They let you send out more units, more powerful stuff. Maybe they have an item, I don't know, something like that. Something important where the regular circles are just like normal. They're not as strong. So like this one is just like a thing. So your first thought might be like, okay, well, if we're dividing up like the power of the units, and I'll explain like what that means later in terms of gameplay. So let's say like we'd probably do like 200 here, 200 here, and 100 here. But aha, you see, that is also how much each one is sending towards you. So what you'll end up with is that, you know, the power levels of those are going to be even. So one, that's where this comes in up here, this fucking like square with different numbers and shit. So like, let's say the element you're sending out here is, and let me erase the number because that's going to get a little confusing. Cool. So let's say that this one here, this diamond, is sending unit 4. So obviously you would think, okay, I want to send unit type 3 because unit type 3 is stronger than unit 4. And let's put these other ones here too to really like flesh out what the fuck I'm talking about here. 3, and we'll say this one's 2. Yeah, so those are like the types. I'm losing my train of thought. The fucking fantasy football draft still hasn't started. I'm angry. Okay, so everyone's with me so far. If you're not, don't worry about it. I'm bad at explaining shit. So you'd think, okay, well, when I'm sending the one to the left, that is going to plug in, you know, I want to send unit 3 because unit 3 is stronger than unit 4. But the kicker is that you only have access to the first 2 types of units because you don't have the thingy. So what you would get from these diamonds that I sort of hinted at earlier is you would get a different type of unit. So what we know is that unit, this one over on the right, is sending unit 3. So if you go and get this diamond, you will get access to unit type 3. So instead of just divvying this 500 up, 200, 100, 200, what you're instead going to want to do is you're going to want to send enough stuff at unit 4 that they're not going to push on you. Because if they have 200 worth of unit 4 coming at you, and you have, say, 200 of unit type 1 coming at them, you are going to lose position because yours are weaker than the enemy's. So, the way this plays out then is each quote-unquote turn, and it would sort of be RTS, we can like pause it and do things. The first step in what you'd want to do here is you would want to send 200 worth of unit 2 at unit 4. So do like, I don't know, arrows, I guess. And we're sending unit 2 because unit 2 isn't weak or strong against 4, it's just the same thing. 200. So you are not going to lose position by doing that. And then straight ahead, they're sending type 2. So you would send 100 of type 1. And what that's going to do is that's going to push that because it's going to be good. It's going to push it towards the circle because fucking the god dang 100 of 2, not 100 of 1 is going to be stronger than 100 of 2. And I'm realizing this is a really fucking confusing way of explaining that, so I probably should have gone with like elements or something. But I'm a freak, and this is how I rationalize it in my head, so you're gonna have to fucking deal with it if you want to know what's going on. And then this one, that's type 3, so we're gonna send 200 of type 2 again, and that's gonna be stronger than that. So that's what we have going on. This is the first step right here. Now the kicker is, like we saw, this isn't just like strategy and moving around who's doing what where. There is an element of player agency here. So not only are these units being sent out, you have a unit yourself that you control that's running around doing all of this. So, big stretch. Fucking big stretch. More big stretch. I'm very tired. Okay. Shit ass. Okay. So what I have not decided yet, is exactly what I want that gameplay to look like. But like I mentioned earlier, I kind of want it to be like Muso related, right? So there is the way that we incentivize doing stuff like that, because obviously you do have the resources where, like, if you sent this out and sat back and did nothing, I mean, you will eventually get to the next step in the process here. So there's some kind of time limit. I don't know what. No, I should probably make this black because it's part of the actual game board. Say you have like 10 days. There's a timer that's constantly ticking down. So what you'll want to do most likely is you will either want to go, you'll want to go one of two ways. You go the easiest route where you can go take out this circle. So you would help out these guys over here, which will get you to the circle here. Or you can go over here and help these guys, and unlock Unit 3. It's going to be a bit harder, obviously, because it's a square instead of a circle. But the reward is then your next step can be to go around here. So you can already see where there's some level of player agency here. It's not just go direction, do thing. There are different like branching pathways, different ways things work out. But anyway, the point of the Muso gameplay then is you're running around and, okay, there's a battle going on here. I want to go help out this battle. There are a lot of arrows on this screen, and most of them mean next to nothing if you haven't been following along to my every word. I am very sorry. I am extremely unhinged. But anyway, when you do that, plug in some kind of like pee-pee poo-poo. Okay, well now I am in actual like combat. And what that looks like in my head is when you're doing like these ones where you're just trying to push to a location, it's sort of like a self-isolated Dynasty Warriors battle where, like, depending on the different levels of units, there's X number of enemies you need to kill to make progress. And if you know anything about Dynasty Warriors, you know how that game works. It's just like a lot of enemies on screen. You have like a lot of like AoE combo type shit and go around wrecking people basically. You're functionally like God. I assume if you know JRPGs, you probably know about like Dynasty Warriors, Muso type games though. But that one's not that interesting. It's just like an instanced combat. You have X number of units you have to take out. There'll be different like mid bosses that'll spawn in and they'll take out more of the enemies at once and you know whatever. And all the while the amount of time you're taking to do this is actually impacting this 10 days up here. So that's like your reason to like pick your battles wisely. You're not just like trying to get to the end, you're trying to like get to the end efficiently. So you win that battle. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, well now some time has passed, but while these units here are maybe like halfway, over here they are now at the fucking gates. So this square can no longer send out more units. Your people are at the gates. That's going to do some interesting things. So, and then obviously the one on the left, nothing's happened. instead of it just being like, okay, well, your people are at the gates, now you can infiltrate this town, I wanted to introduce a little bit more complexity there as well. So the longer... Draw a clock to like illustrate that something's going on. Kind of looks like a fucked up Pac-Man, biblically accurate Pac-Man, but whatever. Someone fucking like took a bite out of the top right, whatever, I can't draw. So fucking that's going on. The longer that waits, the weaker they're gonna be. And that also kind of hinges on different supply routes up here. So like obviously these towns can send supplies elsewhere, whatever, but some kind of like background formula that dictates like, okay, well, the longer that these people are at the gates, the weaker that given like territory gets. So now you have more options. You can handle it right away while it's still at almost full strength, or you could come over here and help these guys push all the way to the circle. Your choice. But when you get into like the territories, especially these like major ones where shit's going on and like you wanna get them to get some kind of like gameplay bonus, some kind of like positive effect. What's gonna happen then is kind of like with the regular battles to get to the territory. Again, and what you get here is you get like a fully fledged like Muso combat. Like what a stage would look like in a Warriors game. Now obviously like the diamond ones or like the major ones are gonna have more objectives and shit compared to like the regular ones. But it's the burb, yo, what's up whomever, welcome, hope you're doing well. Let me check the chat. Okay. Never mind. It looks like the fantasy football draft is not happening. I got y'all riled up for nothing. Gotta head out though. Hope the rest of your stream goes well. Yo, thank you, gamer. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you. And thank you for drawing me. I'll take a look later. I don't know if you posted it on Twitter, Discord, or somewhere, but I am excited to see it. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So like, the way that would look, Twitter, all right, Pog, bet. Let's draw like a map of like an example. So like the town, like the map, and I don't know, like fucking, there's like the entrance where you have like a foothold. So this is like, I don't know. So like this is your base within your base of operations within the town. Like your home base. And then we'll make the enemy like fucking, no, not that square. I want this square to be Urple. There we go. And let me fill those to make it a little bit more obvious what I'm going for here. I don't know, maybe not. But like obviously it's not a straight shot. Like you have like different roads, I guess, in said town. So like some buildings here. In fact, actually we'll just like, well, no. It was like, okay. I promise this isn't like a basketball court. This is like a map of a town, whatever. I don't know. I don't know that I need to go into this much detail, but I am, because I'm a freak. But like, okay, here, then like there might be like little, like a little outpost in different places. Like, okay, this is like a little zone for you to capture. It's more like here and here, then like here, and then maybe like, I don't know, whatever. And based on how many units you sent and how many survived, and you know, you can get, there's a whole lot more depth that you could get into with, like, you know, how are certain elements going to interact, you know, what dictates how much power you have, how much the enemy has, like in terms of how many units you can send where. That's going to dictate how hard this like instanced combat is. But I mean, if you ever played a Dynasty Warriors game, you sort of know how that plays out. So like there might be some cutscenes here, there might be like some dialogue, but your goal is to navigate from here to here. And when you get here, if you manage to take out this base, you win. And each base is going to sort of operate similarly to like the regular fights where you're just trying to kill as many enemies as possible and you'll take it over. But all the same, your enemy is using similar tactics to take back your bases, so that's why you'd want to have more soldiers here to support you, because then you're... Basically, the more you send here, the weaker your enemies are going to be, and the less likely it is that you're going to die, or that you're going to lose the fight, and be set back. Because all the while, all these rules I've explained, your enemy... is also able to like adapt and make the same kind of decisions you're doing. So while I'm doing this to sort of like simplify the different ideas for like mechanics and how they would interact, would work. I mean, obviously in an actual like game setting, it would be a little bit more fleshed out, I guess, or a little bit more like interesting and dynamic. And of course, story elements as well. Like you might like get to a point where you've like captured up to this point, and then, oh look, here comes some other motherfuckers, and we'll make them orange, and they're like, oh, they're coming in, and now these people are challenged from both sides, and they've got a group coming around here, and you know, throughout the chapter, you're having to like deal with that as well. So like it's obviously not static, like I've described it. There are like changing elements as you progress in these battles and as time goes, like, you know, with the time mechanic as well. I mean, you might get like halfway through is when this shit starts happening, so like 5 days in. So now like your job, maybe, you know, it creates some interesting like scenarios where like, okay, well maybe you know that this situation is going to happen, so like your goal then isn't necessarily to defend yourself against these people, just to defend them enough that you can get a foothold elsewhere. So like instead of even going here, you might do something where you have like these territories captured. And now this picture's a real fucking mess, but like, and then like, okay, well you're not doing that at all. You're just defending here just enough that they're not able to take your main base. So yeah, I mean, there's like some decision making on which direction you go, and it's not like what I showed in Type 0, where it's just kind of like, okay, well this is the answer, just do that, Lamau. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was too unhinged or hard to follow. That was kind of my idea I had for like a weird like like RTS Muso action RPG type gunch that I wish I had like the skill and money to act on. But yeah, I mean, that was like this was like the main driving force behind me thinking I could talk about this type of shit for over an hour, and sure as shit I could. I don't know if it was interesting in the slightest or if there's anything else to discuss, but it sure is a stream I did. I certainly hope y'all enjoyed me rambling about this, even if it was only as like a, it was like an ASMR type situation, like a doing stuff in the background and listening to a podcast type of situation. I know a lot of y'all do that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I encourage it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my point with all of this is, though. Like, it's a hard thing to really, like, end the stream now suddenly, because I was, like, going a mile a minute explaining some bullshit. Only to just stop and be like, okay, I'm done. Boom. So... yeah, I don't know. That's definitely a thing. But yeah, if I ever do, I guess all this to say, like, if I ever do, try to delve into game dev at all. Also, what's up, Deluxe? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Pretty cool, this whiteboard. Yo, thank you. I thought it'd be easier than just trying to, like, explain it, because this idea out of all of mine had, like, the most shit going on. But yeah, if I ever do game dev on stream, I'll probably work on something like this, even if it is only just like a little demo of like one fight. I think it'd be cool to actually like put my money where my mouth is and show like, hey, this is a pretty cool idea. But that's like in the far off future. I do want to learn how to do game dev though at some point. It's just a completely different skill set almost from the one I have, which is like app development. Like it's a lot of the same technical skills, but it's like an entirely different like realm of thought. So I'd have to get used to that and, you know, have someone to make assets or like buy assets, or I don't know. But similarly, if anyone's working on like an SRPG type thing that's like even remotely similar to this, like, do let me know. I would enjoy the shit out of that. I would absolutely follow the project. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. That's pretty much the entire topic. I say as if I haven't managed to spend an hour and a half talking about it. I didn't even realize it had been that long. I am getting better at this shit. Let's fucking go. Alright, I will definitely do more just chatting streams as I come up with topics. Unfortunately, me coming up with topics is incredibly difficult because I'm not particularly interesting. What's up, dead man? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. I say I'm not particularly interesting, like I'm not like one of my favorite content creators. Like I genuinely do enjoy a lot of my content, but like, you know, self-deprecating humor. It's hip with the kids. Nah, I don't know. I just have less faith in like my conversational skills than my ability to like talk about what I'm doing in a game. I think that's the best way to describe it. I don't know. I'm like debatably too honest about how I feel about my own content. Imagine fourth wall. Imagine having a wall between yourself and the people that watch you, Lamau. Nah, I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. I'm rambling on to fill time because I'm bad at ending streams, as we know. Alright, let me find someone to raid. Before I keep talking and getting into more topics that confuse me. I am going to raid Tem. They are playing FPS games. And part of the reason I am raiding Tem is because I am actually playing Overwatch 2 with them tomorrow. Around the same time I started this, I think we're starting at 8 instead of 7. Which is good because I can get grocery shopping done tomorrow before Thanksgiving, before everything closes. So yeah, but anyway, I'm excited. I've been wanting to like play games with them again for a while. We haven't done that since like a Valo stream we did half a year ago. So I'm excited. But they're really cool. They're fun to hang out with. Go enjoy their stream. I'm gonna hop off, probably play more Octopath because I'm low-key kind of addicted. It's a good game, good RPG. Good example of some of the shit I talked about making turn-based shit more fun. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see y'all tomorrow, and then the next thing after that will be the Symphogear watch-along, which I still need to figure out the logistics of, but I will before it happens, unless I don't. In which case, you know, what's new? I do everything last minute. But yeah, until then, Vtuber, bye-bye.